trying to lighten the mood a bit by saying they look like serial killers. Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to Heart of the Woods. So we're going to continue where we left off and Maddie was just trying to fall asleep. And let's see what happens now. In, out, in. Wow, are we gonna die today? Someone knocking on the window, great! A loud tap 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 on the window cuts through the silence. My heart leaps into my throat and I bolt upright in the bed. I get tangled in the blankets, scrambling to haul them off of me. With one hand, I desperately feel for my glasses nearby. I finally find them and shove them onto my face, nearly jabbing my eye out. With horror, I look to the window, the one that had made me uncomfortable from the start. Oh... I thought it was gonna be like some ghost or like some monster. What is Morgan doing? She could just come through the front door. It's Morgan. Lantern in hand, fists raised against the glass. She stands there patiently. If she knows what kind of emotional roller coaster she just put me through, she doesn't show. Shakily, I walk over to the window, not even switching on the lamp. With some difficulty, I wrench it open, disturbing a small mound of snow. Yes? It's the best I can manage. Anything longer, I'm not sure I could keep it civil. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Please be ready to go up by 8, and I'll come pick you up. I just blink, unable to comprehend what I'm hearing. Is that okay? We can make it 8:30, but no later. No, 8 is fine. Is that all? That's right. Have a good night. Sorry if I disturbed you. More than disturbed me, you scared the crap out of me. I thought there was like an axe murderer. I slammed the window shut and hobbled back to bed. She doubled back into the snow and scared the hell out of me for that? I checked the time on my phone. It's nearly midnight. 8 hours of sleep, and then I'll be ready to go. It's going to be a long month, isn't it? Oh my god. Oh, what's this? It's 8 hours and 34 minutes later. I know because I'm telling the time on my phone only a remaining function. Yet I'm still checking it constantly, like something might change. True to her word, Morgan was there to pick us up right at 8. It's a minor miracle that Tara and I were both ready to go. I don't know who had it worse, me waking up at my alarm, or Tara waking me up by banging on her door. Even now, she slowly eats the piece of bread from the kitchen, looking at all the world like a cow chewing cud. Each bump of the carriage that hits, a tiny cup of coffee threatens to spill in my hand. I'm not sure I'd feel it. After answering Morgan's punctuatory question about the first night, we spent the rest of the ride in silence. She didn't acknowledge at how she had knocked on my window. Apparently it wasn't remarkable enough to have her deserve another mention. I watch her over my shoulder now as we approach the town. From the train last night, the scattered lights made Eysenfeld appear a lot larger than it really is. Now in the daylight, I have to strain my eyes to pick out some of the buildings against the hills and snow. Tara's missing it all, staring at her feet, crumbs littering the floor beneath her. Morgan moves along the path, and I'm pretty sure this is the same one from last night. A few villagers move out of the way of her carriage, not even turning to look. It must be a regular occurrence. Even though it's hard for anyone to see us here, I still feel self-conscious. I clutch my bag of camera gear tighter to my chest, hiding myself behind it. There aren't any other carriages on the road, nor anything bigger than the pushcart, so we'll stand out, at least in my head. If the situation is still awkward or out of the ordinary to Morgan, she doesn't show it. She pulls the reins on the carriage and comes to a stop on the road. There aren't even many other people here, but a few of them give us a wide berth. And we're here. Tara finally perks up, the words clearly spoken from the bed of it. This looks very old. Look at the buildings. It takes her a moment to realize that we made an entrance, but as soon as she does, she is in showbiz mode. She leaps from her feet, throwing off the exhaustion like a disguise. Here we are indeed! She vaults off the carriage, spinning circles like we're in the middle of a grand plaza instead of the middle of the street. I climb out more carefully, then scurry out of the way. Okay, this rules! It doesn't really feel like we traveled back in time. The buildings all built from wood and stone, like they've been there for centuries. The road that we're on and currently blocking is made of cobblestone. It winds through the town, despite being covered in well-tempered snow. We're certainly a long way from home. Morgan doesn't disembark from the carriage, and instead calls us down. The town square is right down this road, but if I take you there, I won't be able to turn the carriage around. It's always a pain when that happens. I'm going to open up my shop, but feel free to come by whenever you like. I'm sorry I can't show you around right now, but I'll make it up to you later. Where's your shop? Oh, right. She pulls a piece of paper from somewhere that dangles from towards me. Cross the road and take it from her. Unfolding it, I can see that it's a map. Despite being hand-drawn, it's pretty coherent and legible. Certain buildings like Morgan's shop and local pub are denoted by handwritten tags. And at the middle of the road where we're currently standing, she even drawn a helpful "You are here" notice with a smiley face. That's cute. She clearly planned this well in advance. Cool, thanks. Feel free to stop by around lunch. I'll make you both something. Hell yeah, you're the best, Morgan! Thanks. Morgan gives us a brief wait before heading off to wherever it is you park a horse-drawn carriage. I point in the direction of the town square that Morgan mentions, wanting to get away from all the people who are currently gawking at us. We definitely stick out, if only because of our colorful hair and clothes, combined their outfits of the colorful palette and of a bowl of oatmeal. Although they stare, nobody really says anything, either too polite or too intimidated. Both Tara and I avoid eye contact with strangers as we hurry to the empty town square. Well, that could have gone worse. There are a million ways this could have gone worse. If people look at us funny as the only downside to this trip, then it'll be our best episode yet. I mean, ever. I wish you would stop bringing it up. It always kills the mood, which was barely on life support to begin with. Tara rubs her shoulders, having stubbornly chosen not to dress any warmer today. I don't understand Tara's thinking, why are you only wearing this? Okay, ready to get your paranormal on, Mads? I shrug my camera bag onto my shoulder and nod. I suppose there's no harm in spending a little time establishing the location. Might as well get some B-roll while we're here. The one thing that both Tara and I have in common is that we're not really sightseers. I spend much as time in my room as I can whenever there's a hotel room while we're filming or my bedroom at home. So much as Tara loves investigating all the dramatic stuff, she probably totally skipped the exposition segments if she really didn't leave them to me. That means we're pretty efficient at filming them. I turn on the camera and slowly turn a circle, capturing the ground, sky, and some nearby buildings for footage where we can splice together later. I do a slow pan across some houses, then frame and hold a shot of a path further into the village. A young couple passes by holding hands, and they share a suspicious look at the camera as they go by. Guess I'm editing that part out later. Most of the time, making paranormal videos is just me finding ways to stretch 10 seconds of interesting footage into a 10-minute video. That's something else we're both good at. The cold wind makes it hard to keep a steady grip, so I stow the camera and shove my hands into my pocket. Get anything cool? Unable to browse on her phone like she usually does while waiting, instead Tara watches from over my shoulder as I record. Not really, there's not much to see here. Yeah, it's kind of less impressive up close. It's kind of a place you'd expect the tumbleweed to blow through, like if the climate fit. Wow, you're turning into quite the poet. Oh, shut up. What? It's a compliment. Anyway, since filming the village is dead right now, we should follow up with the rumors Morgan was talking about the other night. I'm thinking a giant tree spirit. That's the most interesting one she talked about for sure. That's the headliner. We need to build up that one. Oh yeah, definitely. Picture this. Picture what? Oh, we need to head into the woods and get some creepy shots. Do it right around sundown. Make it super ambient. Lots of atmosphere, wind sounds, maybe a wolf howl. Sounding like a total, like a YouTuber, honestly. You've got a good wolf sound effect we could use, right? Yeah, of course. Anyway, I do the narration over that, introducing where we are and what we're out here looking for. Then we get a sound of a big branch snapping and just cut the video right there. Tara looks pleased with herself and glances back at me for approval. It takes me a minute to react. So end the video on a cliffhanger? Yeah, I think so. We could definitely stretch the Ensign stuff into a mini-series or something. We should be able to get at least 3 episodes worth of stuff out here. That sounds fine. Snapping branch is pretty weak at the end though. Especially since, like, we uploaded the video. Nobody's gonna wonder if we're okay or not. Oh, that's true. So you think maybe we should just make one long video or end it differently? Maybe a different ending. I'll think of something later. Cool, you're the best, Mads. I smile, but it hurts a little. I'm not sure she's trying to make me feel bad. She probably doesn't even know that I do. I just shrug, wanting to change the subject. We can also follow up on some smaller rumors, like in her email she mentioned mysterious lights out in the forest. Like a will-o-wisp? Aren't those actually real? You're the expert, you should know that, not me. Tara stares at me expectantly. Yes, they're real, but it's not swamp gas. It doesn't matter though, because we need to wait for the nighttime for the stuff. It's not very spooky during the daytime. In that case, we definitely want to talk about locals. See what kind of rumors they've heard of, or that kind of thing. Right, that's definitely the smartest thing to do. We both faced back towards the street we came down, where Morgan dropped us off with all those noisy people, who just stared at us but wouldn't talk, awkwardly. Or we could get some more establishing shots from the other parts of the village? I like that idea. We pick a direction at random and start walking. We head further into town. It starts to get more lively, and there are more people around. That might just be time of day, though. A couple of folks shovel the snow in front of their homes. A group of kids running up and down the street, accompanied by a sagging bassinet hound. A woman wearing what appears to be an entire bear fur coat shuffles past us. Wherever we go, the villagers watch us unabashedly. No one makes an attempt to talk to us, and conversation falls silent whenever we come near. I wonder if there was some sort of order to not speak with us, or it just happens naturally. I try to force myself to ignore it. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just a curiosity. The only interesting thing about us is our out-of-townness. Morgan said that there are rarely ever visitors here. It's not hard to imagine why. There doesn't seem to be much worth visiting. Still, if they do keep this up, it's going to make those interviews even harder to do. Tara taps me on the shoulder, nodding in the direction of some sort of our observers. Is it me, or is there kind of a creepy serial vibe going on here? Oh my god, can you not? Hey, I'm just kidding! Just trying to lighten the mood a bit by saying they look like serial killers? My reaction having ruined any chance. Neither of us speak again. I unpack the camera again and film a few of the storefronts as we go. As long as I'm supertorious enough, most people don't notice and thus don't change their behavior. Inevitably, whenever someone does see me filming, they tense up and just stare, ruining my take. It's like they've never seen a camera before. Maybe that's not far from the truth. One thing I have to give for the Eysenfeld credit is that there's more personality in the construction than I thought at first. Most of the buildings seem to be people's homes, but it doesn't take us long to find a few stores here and there. The names are simple and plain, like you read in a tabletop RPG book. Hellkite and Sons Tailoring, a butcher shop named The Hearty Sow, that sort of thing. We pass by a tavern called The Bushy Beard, and I can hear Tara snicking behind me. Do you think they have barmaids? What? Like sexy Oktoberfest kind? Do you think they have those here? She is so gay! I want to see the girls with the big boobies and the beers. Tara's words are so out of nowhere that it takes me a second to mentally process. This isn't the Renaissance fair, Tara. I'm pretty sure they're just wearing normal clothes to work. Tara's mouth gapes wide open. Wait, what? Back up! Red fairs have sexy barmaids? Where else do you think they come from? I have no idea. I always thought those things were just full of boring stuff. What? Not at all. They have swordsplay demonstration or time period appropriate foods. Sometimes local experts will give talks or lectures on certain topics and, like I said, boring stuff. Whatever, there are more to it than just cosplay. I bet you actually like it if you went with me next time. Plus, I thought you loved history now. Not the boring kind of history, duh. How are swords boring? Whatever, Mads. She's more of like the... I don't want to say fictional, but more of like the folklore kind of history, rather than Mads, who is more of like non-fiction history, like actual history. So that's where their personalities kind of split. Mads is more realistic and Tara is more like imaginative. So that's the difference. She walks away. How did I manage to lose an argument she started? We cut a slow but steady course through the village. Despite how random the layout seems, it's impossible to get lost. All the roads seem to lead back to one another. I'm so used to the sound of busy intersections and highways that the near silence here is almost unnerving. I can appreciate the serenity and calm of it, but I think I'd go crazy if I have to live here. We're not even a full day in, and I can't help but miss my cozy apartment and the convenience of city life. Eventually, we take a path that brings us back to a familiar sight, the town square that we visited right after Morgan dropped us off. According to my phone, it has been little over an hour since then. Still too early to meet up with Morgan for lunch. I guess we can't keep putting this off for any longer. I think I have enough of the town now. Do you want to start interrogating the villagers? Interviewing! I don't even notice myself misspeaking. I must have still interrogation on the mind after being the mayor last night. Tara poses dramatically, hyping herself up for the camera. I'm not even recording yet. Time to put my game face on! As long as it's the game face that people want to talk to. Mads, when have I ever been anything but charming? She sighs. Yeah, I know. I'll keep it chill for these so we don't freak anyone out. But like, how do we do this? Just go up to people and ask if we can chat? I guess. I don't have any better ideas. This is how we usually do it, except usually people are more curious about who we are and what we're doing. Sometimes after introducing ourselves, or even people who have heard of us. That is definitely not the case out here. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if Morgan was the only person in this whole village that uses YouTube. The only thing that's more awkward than just asking random people for an interview is them staring silently while you approach, but we don't have any other options. I hand the mic to Tara. At least I'm not the one who has to do the talking. Tara stands there with the mic in hand. And stands there. You good? Yeah, I am. Just give me a sec, okay? Okay. She psychs herself up by stretching and taking a few deep breaths. The whole time she holds the mic pitched between her fingers, like it's something she just peeled off her shoe. Once she's finally ready, she gives me a thumbs up and starts to walk again. The trail of a couple of meters behind, keeping her back in frame in the middle of the shot. She moves with a determined stride, but I can see the microphone shaking in her hand. We pass a few people walking around, but she doesn't stop any of them, nor does she ask any of the folks outside the buildings chatting or working or just sitting and looking bored. Just up ahead, a middle-aged woman smokes a cigarette, looks at nothing and no one in particular. It doesn't look like she's going anywhere, and she's not already in the middle of the conversation. She's the perfect candidate, and Tara must know it. I wait for her to go up to her and introduce herself. I stand still and hit the record button, filming her approach. Except she doesn't. She walks right past the lady whose gazes follow us as she goes. I pause the recording and hurriedly catch up, hissing Tara's name. I have to say it twice to where she hears me and stops. Stop! What are you waiting for? We passed like a dozen people now. Right, but none of them are the right one. Which one is the right one? You know, it's impossible to tell. I know when I see them. Roll my eyes, but I don't chastise her. She's trying her best. Oh, okay, here we go. Get ready. I follow the line of sight to figure out her prey, older man, resting on the bench nearby. Broad shoulders with a long beard. He looks like the stereotype of a lumberjack. Like the previous woman, he stares up vapidly off in the distance, though clearly somewhere else. Once again, I plant my feet and set the shot. I make a macro adjustments in the focus until I get it just right. The rest is up to Tara. Slowly, Tara approaches the man. Either he doesn't see her coming or he ignores her. She glances at me for reassurance, which I give her in the form of a smile and nudging her motion, telling her to get on with it. She clears her throat and grabs the man's attention. He turns to her slowly and eyes her suspiciously. Then he notices me in the camera and tenses up. Not off to a good start, Tara talks quickly, trying to explain the situation. Hi there, my name is Tara Brick. My friend Maddie and I are visiting from out of town. Doing a report in Eysenfeld. I was wondering if we can ask you a few questions? Report? What kind of report? He relaxes a little bit. The man rubs his eyes wearily, peering back and forth between me and Tara. I wish he'd stop looking directly into the camera. I slowly start to move laterally, trying to frame the two of them better, but he keeps shifting onto the bench to watch me. It's an investigation on supernatural, rumors, ghost stories, that sort of thing. We've heard a lot of legends about Eysenfeld, and we're looking into them, trying to figure out what's true and what isn't. Figured out the truth, huh? The man mutters darkly. The beetle brow eyes still flip between me and Tara. He chews on his lip while he thinks about it. Something about his face strikes me as odd, but I can't figure out what it is. It's probably just the trick of the camera or the light. Well, alright, I suppose I've got time. It takes Tara a beat to respond. We are both sure that he was doing what he was going to tell us is to bug off or worse. Great, thank you! So, can you tell me about Eysenfeld? Just what is it like here on an average day, that sort of thing? Clearly she didn't expect to get this far, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. She offers the man the mic, but he just stares uncomfortably until she retracts it. Right, well, it's a good little town. Good and proper. Quiet, real quiet. That's what I like about it. None of the city business, no noise and bustle. Out here is just you and nature. That suits me just fine, it does. So, you're from around here then? Spent your life in Eysenfeld? Born and raised, and God willing, I'll die out here too. Never thought about leaving. Never had a reason to. Great, great! So then I imagine you know all about the local legends, right? About as well as anyone. An old village has got its stories, if you believe them all. There's goblins in the woods, trolls in the mountain, and who knows what else elsewhere. Of course, it's only children what believe in those. So you never seen anything weird yourself? Nothing unexplainable? Weird like what? By now, the man has abandoned looking at Tara entirely. Instead of focusing on the camera, his eyes looking strangely focused. One of our friends here mentioned something about a big forest spirit, like a walking tree kind of thing. He sits up from his slouch, finally turning to face Tara. What friend of yours might that be? She's from around here, one of the locals? Even though we gave her a shout in one of our videos, Tara's reluctant to name Morgan as our contact. It makes sense. Her neighbors surely feel different about us than our viewers do. I bet it was that Fisher girl, wasn't it? If you know what's best for you, you'll stay clear of her. Nothing but trouble comes from that one. Nothing at all. Tara and I exchange a glance. Seems like her thoughtfulness was irrelevant. At the same time, I'm suddenly a lot more interested in what the guy has to say. Why do you say that? It feels a bit strange violation of privacy to be asking this stranger his opinion of her host, but if she's notorious enough that anyone in the street knows her, then perhaps we're better off knowing why? Spitting into the snow, our subject stands and turns his back to us. There have been questions you ought to not be asking, miss. I'll be going now. Enjoy yourselves. That's weird. I mean, in a way, Morgan's kind of weird. She is a little bit weird. But, like, I don't think anything, like, malicious of her, right? He lumbers off into town, though I don't watch him for very long. Questions we ought to be asking, huh? Questions we ought to not be asking, huh? I'm not sure if that's a threat or not. For the sake of my anxiety, I tell myself it's not. Join Tara on the bench, doing my best to avoid the puddles of melted snow. That was something! That's putting it nicely. I don't know what that was either. Maybe Tara's right, it was something. You get it all? She taps her fingers against the camera on my hand. Of course. All 2 uncomfortable minutes. I wasn't given a lot to work with there. I replay the recording with Tara leaning over to watch along with me. It's not any less awkward the second time though. Well, we already knew we need to talk to a few different people. Just got unlucky on the first one. Know what I mean? Tara stands up, but I remain seated. Still need another minute? I don't say anything. I'm trying to think of what to say. Hello? It's the Maddie. Please respond. I'm thinking. My voice is too harsh and snappy, but we both know it. I play through the clip again, and this time without Tara watching, something still seems off to me, and it's not just the gruffy way he left. Look, we knew Morgan was a bit weird. All of our fans are weird. That's why they're our fans. In a tiny little town like this, of course anyone who's different is gonna have a reputation. I mean, yeah, in a way, it's true. People do look at weird people differently, even though they're not weird. It's just that the way they act is a lot different than normal people. But, like, I think that, like, the one thing that puts me off is the guy. He was so focused on looking at the camera. That's kind of weird. That doesn't make Morgan a bad person. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I didn't say anything. But you had to ask. I'm sitting here thinking if this is really freaking shady that this guy just guessed we were here with Morgan. And then he just left as soon as he found out. That's not normal. That's not something that has happened to us before. Great, that means we're on the right track. If they're hiding something, then that means there's something to hide. Have you completely lost your mind? This is ridiculous, even for Tara. I can understand her wanting to give Morgan a chance, but to actually buy into her nonsense? Tara nods and looks down at her feet, brushing some snow off her shoe. It's only been a couple of hours, Mads. He's just one old cranky geezer. Please just try to have some patience on this one, okay, for me? Checked my watch. It hasn't even been 2 hours. That only makes her more right, as much as I hate to admit it. Sighing, I place my head in my hands. Sorry, I'm still tired. It's okay. After a long minute, I stand. Wanna find somebody else? Guess we oughta. I don't know, I don't think Morgan's a bad person. I hope she's not, because I've been wrong before, so I hope I'm not wrong. We traipse wordlessly through the town a bit more. I keep the camera stowed. I'll set it up when we find someone. Now that we've been burned once, I start to understand why Tara is so reluctant to speak to anyone. What once seemed like people tightening their clothes against the cold now seems like we're turning into their shoulders towards us. A suspicious number of folks look away from us to cough. The amount of times we pass in the same place certainly doesn't help our appearance. By now, there are a few especially chatty villagers that have seen us pass by at least 4 times. It takes another 15 minutes to loop around the town before we find another candidate. A pair of girls about our age are waiting outside a shop. Inside, a third girl is talking to a shopkeeper. People our age are going to be our best bet. One of the waiting girls sips from her small mug what I assume is coffee. She sees us and nods her head in greetings. That's the nicest reception we've gotten so far. What about them? Worth a try. This time I approach with Tara. I let her take the lead, but I follow close behind, forcing myself to smile in order to seem more approachable. Excuse me? The talking girl and shopkeeper turn towards us at the same time. Their conversation snaps off immediately. Excuse me. Hey there. Hello. The girl next to her leans in to whisper something to her friend's ear, but doesn't talk to us. Hey, so my friend and I here from out of town? We know. They both giggle to themselves. We're filming a documentary sort of thing about Eysenfeld, and I was wondering if I could ask you some questions? Eysenfeld, why here? What about it? Well, we're doing a video about any sort of rumors or local legends that you might have out here, ghost stories or that kind of thing. The two girls talk to each other in low voices that I can't pick up. The quieter girl is muttering something, and the girl with the coffee is agreeing and nodding along. As one of them turn to face us again, I don't think there's anything like that out here. This isn't the kind of place. Now when you were kids, your parents didn't tell you stories about things that lived in the forest? You've never been out late at night and seen something you can't explain? We're not allowed to go out at night. Right, there's a curfew. The girls go quiet, nodding to themselves. Sensing a dead end, Tara changes their tactics. Do either of you know a girl named Morgan? She's the mayor's daughter. The first girl, the one with the coffee, grins and pulls at her companion's arm. The other girl swats her away, facing turned pink. Oh, I'm pretty sure everyone knows her. She smiles devilishly at her embarrassed friend. Some of us better than others. What's she like? Why is she so famous? She isn't that bad. She's trouble and you know it. Staying out after hours, sneaking around town, she spends a lot of time out there in the woods too, sometimes overnight. What do you think she's doing out there? If that's a particular conclusion we're supposed to have reached, it's lost on me. Still, it can't be a coincidence that we're 2 for 2 on people being weirded out by Morgan. 3 for 3 if I count myself. Do you think there's something out there? The two girls blink as if their reaction was planned. Something like what? Tara shrugs. No idea. Like I said, that's what we're researching. I don't think you'll find anything like that there. I'm sorry, but this is a very interesting place. Right. I stride away, leaving her behind. I head to the corner between the two buildings, out of the sight of the girls we spoke to. Tara catches up and leans against the wall next to me. That didn't go much better. Really, you think? Was it just a coincidence that these 2 other random people we met happened to have the same opinion of Morgan as the first? She didn't tell her mom, the mayor of the whole town, that we were going to be staying in the cabin that her mother probably owns. For a month. She rambles off stuff that makes any one of our videos sound like an episode of Scooby-Doo. The next morning, she just dumps us in the middle of a village. We haven't even been here for a day yet. We've seen our host for like hours top, and we probably practically asleep for most of that. How am I supposed to have a good opinion of her so far? Well, yeah, she's gotta work. Come on, Mads. Have a little faith. What's the worst that can happen? The lead turns out to be nothing but like a 200 times before. Some girls gossip about us, and old Mom tells us to get lost. 207, and the worst is that the whole town hates us while we're stuck here after spending thousands of dollars across the world to live in the wood cabin with no phone service and barely any internet for a month. You've got to see a problem here, Tara. Tara sighs and throws up her hands. Okay, so what? What is it you want me to do? We're here and you hate it. I get it. So what's the solution? What is it you're hoping for here? Like I said before, let's just deal with it, make the best we can, and try to have some fun. That's what the whole point of this thing. It was supposed to be fun. If she's trying to encourage me, she does a terrible job of it. Whatever. Let's just get this over with. And this time, don't mention Morgan. If nobody likes her here, then you're probably better off not bringing her up. I can see that she wants to say something, probably argue, but then she deflates and nods. Okay, no Morgan. She goes quiet for a moment, staring off into the town. She takes a breath and sighs, visibly relaxing. She starts to lead the way, not looking back at me. I feel a sharp pang of guilt as I stare back. I didn't promise to try, and here I am again, making everything worse. Tara, she stops in place. Sorry. Again, really. She smiles a bit sadly, but shrugs. I get it, Mads. We're cool. Let's go. There's a lot more paranormal in our future. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end this episode of Heart in the Woods so far. It is kind of scary that, like, if you think about it, they're coming to a village that, again, doesn't really have internet, doesn't really have phone service, and we're staying with a girl that they don't know. This is a fan of theirs, of their YouTube channel, in the middle of the woods. She didn't tell her mother, the mayor, that they were staying there until the day that they came. And adding to the fact that when Mads was trying to sleep, she was knocking on her window. Like, I don't understand that. Wouldn't you rather go to the front door and just knock there and be like, hey, I forgot to tell you, or call on the phone and be like, sorry, I forgot to mention, I'm gonna pick you up at 8 o'clock. It's really weird that she was knocking on her window at the beginning. And adding to the fact that nobody likes her. So, again, I don't know if we should trust her or not. Like, either people just don't like her because she's weird and she, like, hangs out with ghosts in the forest, or she's actually hiding something. We'll find out very soon. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying this video, remember to leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think we can trust Morgan? I don't know if we can or not. But be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you guys know when I upload the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!
Nothing as special as you.
Damn it! Oh my god, this is creepy. And sometimes that brings people together in a not so cute way. Here are 6 terribly awkward romances in video games. Number 6. Cole and Elsa.